Askuiklasin, Kanupiam, hello and welcome back to Children's Hour. This week we're talking about pumpkins.
Nupiam kisak katavatai katanjuat katavatai kanupiam kisak katavatai katanjuat Katabatas nasbinu amanitong Katabatas katanduat kamaguanat.
Askuiklasin, hello and welcome back to Children's Hour. This week we are going to be talking about pumpkins. How exciting. I love pumpkins. Pumpkin foods are so delicious. Do you know how to say pumpkin in the Narragansett language? It's a pretty long word. It's Mishi Askuda Squash, which means great squash, because pumpkins are pretty big. So, yeah, did you know that pumpkins are a type of squash? I actually have a story that has to do with our squash. It's our story of the three sisters. Would you like to hear it? You would? Okay, if you really want to hear the story, I need you to say, Nakis, Nakis, yes, yes. I can't hear you, say it louder, Nakis, Nakis. One more time, I really want to hear you at your loudest, Nakis, Nakis. Oh, so you really want to hear the story. Well, come on, let's go. Many, many moons ago, Catantuit came to visit the Narragansett people. He asked them to send their greatest warrior forward, and that this warrior was to travel to the southwest. And so they sent Kanatmasitash out on his journey. He traveled through the fall, hearing the leaves crunch beneath his moccasins. With each step, the winds were cold and harsh, but he was enveloped in the beauty of it all, which sustained him. He walked through the winter. The blankets of snow covered the ground. At times, the only footprints he could see were his own. Frigid, blowing clouds with his breath, he found peace in the stillness and the wonder of it all, which kept him moving forward. He walked through spring. He watched the rebirth of the world. The snow began to melt and new life brew with every kiss from the sun. At this point, he was tired. He had been walking for 3 seasons, but he remembered the interconnectivity of life, those who came before him and those who have not been born yet. This kept him moving. He walked through summer, the heat sweltering. Tired and worn, he continued on as his sweat cleansed him and reminded him of his mission. Finally reached the southwest, he was greeted by Catantuit, who told him for his hard work he was to stay with him. And so he sent Crow back with a gift for the Narragansett people. When he finally reached the Narragansett people, he hopped on one foot, and out of one of his ears came the corn. He hopped on the other foot, and out of his other ear came the bean. He told the Narragansett people that they were to grow the 3, corn, bean, and squash together, the 3 sisters, and they would never be hungry again. Hanivre. Did you guys enjoy the story? You did, Winnie. Good. So I'm going to share with you guys some pumpkin facts, and we're going to start by talking about the pumpkin's color. Do you know what color a pumpkin is? That's right, orange. But did you know that pumpkins can also be yellow, green, white, or red? Did you know that scientifically speaking, pumpkins aren't vegetables? They're fruit because they have those big white seeds that are so tasty when you cook them and eat them. Yes, those seeds make them a fruit because scientifically speaking, fruits have seeds. And you can use those seeds when you don't cook them to plant more pumpkins. Pumpkins have been grown in North America for over 5,000 years. That's a long time. We were talking about pumpkins and their colors. Would you guys like to paint a pumpkin with me? Okay, let's go. We talked about which color a pumpkin should be, but I can't seem to think of which color most people think pumpkins are. Can you help me to remember? Let's paint this pumpkin and I'll try to remember. Mushquee, red. Do most people think pumpkins are red? Martha, no. We learned that pumpkins can sometimes be red, but that's not the color most people think of. Let's try a different one. How about wasawi, yellow. Do most people think of pumpkins as being yellow? Martha, no. Let's try a different color. Like, I know, Askoski. Green. Yes, Askoski. Do most people think of pumpkins as being green? Martha, no. What about, I got an idea. Pashawi. Do most people think of pumpkins as being pashawi? Martha, no. Let's think of a different color. How about Sucky, purple. Do most people think of pumpkins as being purple? Martha. Let me think. What about Wompy? Do most people think of pumpkins as being wompy or white? No, but we do know that pumpkins can be white, but that's not what most people think of when they think of a pumpkin. What about mooey, black? Do most people think of mooey or black when they think of a pumpkin? No, most people don't think of mooey. I'm running out of colors. What is the color again? Orange. You're right. Most people do think of orange. And how you say that in Narragansett is Natajuanta Michias Gouda squash. Like a pumpkin. Natajuanta Michias Gouda squash. Orange. Like a pumpkin. Like the color of a pumpkin. Great job, guys. That was so much fun painting a pumpkin. But you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to draw a pumpkin. Would you guys like to draw a pumpkin with me? Yes, let's go. Come on, I'll teach you how. So today we're going to be making a pumpkin. For this, you're going to need an orange crayon, a black crayon, a pencil, and a brown crayon. Let's go. You got it? So we're going to start by making an upside down U shape. Then from the middle of each side of that upside down U, you're going to draw another upside down U just coming off of it. Just like that. Great job. Please feel free to take your time. Then we're going to start right at the tippity top of those upside down U's, right at the bumps. We're going to draw lines coming up from each of those, reaching up to the sky. And also from the corner of where those upside down U's meet, right in those corners, you're also going to draw lines that are shooting up to the sky. I curved mine in, but yours can be straight up. That's going to be your stem. Now, once you have that done, you're going to connect all the lines and make a pentagon shape. A pentagon has 5 sides. Once you have your pentagon shape, you're going to fill in that pentagon with lots of little dots. And that's called adding texture, because if you've ever seen the top of a pumpkin stem where it's been cut off, it normally has a lot of texture there, and that's what you're doing by adding those little dots. Of course, you don't have to add those, but I like to add texture. Now, this is where you can get creative as you want. You can add as many lumps as you want to the top, as many of those upside down U's to shape out your pumpkin. Once you have it all shaped out, from the left side U, you're going to make a C shape. You're going to connect that line to make it like a C. And once you have that done, in the center, you're either going to make an O shape or you're going to make a squiggly shape. And it all depends on what you want your pumpkin to look like. Mine looks like somebody took my oval and just squeezed it right in the middle. So it's up to you to decide how you want to do that. Then on my other side, I'm just making, again, this one's a backwards C. It's your pumpkin, so you can make as many of those lines rounded and as many of those lines look like they've been squeezed as you want. Then I wasn't really happy with the shape of my pumpkin, so I went and added more of those upside down U's to the top of my pumpkin so it looked fuller. Now here's an extra detail that you don't have to add, but I just wanted to show. If you want, you can go in and add some lines that curve inside of your pumpkin, that curve along the lines we already drew, and that's gonna just give it dimension or depth. So what that means is it's gonna make it look a little more 3D when you're done. But you don't have to do that because art is just for however you wanna do it, whatever feels good to you. And that's why you'll see, if you look up pictures of painted pumpkins, you'll see so many different kinds because everybody gets to make their art how they want to make their art. Okay, get your crayons ready. Now we're going to take our orange, our dark orange, and we're going to outline everything except for the stem. So when I say outline, I mean you're going to go right up to what you did in pencil and you're going to trace that line. But here's how you're going to make your dark orange. If you only have a crayon, you're going to push down as hard as you can. Careful, because crayons will break. But you're going to push down very hard, and the harder you push, the darker the color it will be. And so we're learning how to shade today. And you're going to go in, and you're going to trace every single line that's supposed to be pumpkin orange. And you can make that as thick or as thin as you want it. You might notice in some of the sections that the whole thing's colored in, and that's okay. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna trace your dark orange with a lighter orange. But wait a minute, we only have one crayon. How are you gonna make it lighter? Well, you're gonna press less hard. And you're gonna trace that dark orange with your lighter orange by pressing less hard. And you're gonna keep doing that each time, pressing lighter and lighter till it feels like you're barely pressing on the paper, until all the pumpkin is colored in. So you guys have really learned how to shade today. Now, there's all different kinds of ways that you can color. And if you're at home, you could try instead using different color oranges, or you could use a red as your dark and a yellow as your highlight or as your lighter color. Or you could color your pumpkin all one color. It's really up to you, but I'm just teaching you one way that I think is really fun for shading. There's a bunch of different ways that you can shade, but I find this way works really good, especially if you're doing like coloring pages. Once you're done with that, you're gonna do the same technique up at the top with your brown for the stem. Now, you could decide that you want to color your stem green and do the same technique with the green. But the reason I chose to do brown is because a lot of times when the stem is broken, like ours is, it turns brown because it's dead. But if it's more alive, then you could do green. Or as I said, you could do whatever color you want. And you're just going to use that same technique that we just did. Once you're done with that, you're going to trace over every line that you had done with pencil in black. And that's just going to give it a bold outline. You don't have to do that, but that is an option of something that you can do. And something that's really going to create contrast and make your pumpkin stand out. Again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but if you just take that black crayon and outline, then that's going to make it bolder. Great job, guys. So the last move that I'm going to have us do is we're going to actually shade a shadow. Because normally, if a pumpkin's sitting out in the light, it has some kind of shadow. And if you want, just like how we did with the cranberry, you can add a shadow right on the bottom. Just by drawing a little black oval right underneath, however you'd like. Thank you guys so much for drawing with me, and please feel free to send in your photos. I've been loving seeing your drawings. Enjoyed drawing the pumpkins as much as I did. We've been doing a lot of talk about Scooter squash or pumpkins today, but you know what's one thing we haven't done yet? We haven't counted any pumpkins, and I actually saw some pumpkins over there in a patch if you want to count them with me. You do? Okay, come on, let's go. Let's count the Scooter squash or the pumpkins. Naquit, Nisa, Nish, Yo, Napana, Quata, Inada, Swosuk, Paskugat, Piak. Naquit, Nisa, Nish, Yo, Napana, Quata, Inada, Swosuk, Paskugat, Piak. Naquit, Nisa, Nish, Yo, Napana, Quata, Inada, Swosuk, Paskugat, Piak. Yay, great job counting. Counting is so much fun, but you know what's even more fun than counting pumpkins? Eating pumpkins, or at least I think so. Ooh, it makes me so hungry. Are you hungry? I'm gonna teach you guys how to say I'm hungry in the Narragansett language. Nanakatap, unanakatap. I am very hungry. Miss your scooter squash. Unanakatap, unanakatap. I am very hungry. Miss your scooter squash. Unanakatap, unanakatap. I am very hungry. Miss your scooter squash. Unanakatap, unanakatap. I am very hungry. Miss your scooter squash. Unanakatap, unanakatap. I am very hungry. Miss your scooter squash. That was so delicious, and it filled me right up. Well, unfortunately, our time today has come to an end. But it has been so much fun hanging out with you guys. Before we can go, there's one thing that we need to do. We need to say goodbye in the Narragansett language. It's hawunsek. Hawunsek means goodbye. Can you say hawunsek? Hawunsek, hawunsek. See you guys next week.